didn't become the villain because I did something bad. I became the villain because I stopped abandoning myself. I worked harder than anyone. I took responsibility. I spent tens of thousands of dollars in therapy and self-development. I did the inner work. I was kind. I listened. I repaired. And still, I was the villain in the story. And that's when I realized something devastating. You can be the most self-aware, accountable, and loving person in the room, and some people will still make you the villain in order to avoid facing themselves. I see this all the time, especially in sensitive people who care deeply. The ones who think, if I just do the inner work, if I stay kind, if I stay humble, they'll see that I'm not the bad one. But this attitude of generosity is actually a dangerous one because often, other people don't want healing. They want someone to carry the weight of their unhealed parts for them. So, if I was going to be cast as the villain, no matter what, I decided to become the villain on purpose and take my power back. For years, I carried other people's emotional weight. Ex-partners would make me the villain in our story, even though I was the one holding it all together. Later, when I left academia and started teaching about spirituality, truth, and personal power, I was attacked publicly. I was called selfish, privileged, not trauma-informed, and not because I did harm, but because I refused to stay in a role that made others comfortable. The moment I stopped over-explaining and over-apologizing for who I was, they unraveled. Because when you stop carrying what was never yours to carry, other people have to face the truth about themselves and do the work that they've been avoiding. So I stopped being the villain by accident. And I decided to become the villain with intention because I wanted to. And it looked like no longer softening my truth, no longer performing humility to make others feel safe, no longer negotiating my self-respect. I stopped trying to be good and I started being true. And over the past few years, I've thought a lot about my villain arc and I systematize it. I used my academic brain to make sense of it and research it and come up with rules and laws that anyone can use to become the villain of their own story, and consciously so that they can stop abandoning themselves. The first law is the law of radical self-respect. The villain definitely doesn't ask for permission to exist. They know their worth and they act from it. Self-respect is not a feeling, it's a standard for how you want to be treated and how you treat yourself. The second law is the law of boundaries as a sacred act. The villain makes protecting their peace the number one priority without explanation. If something drains your life force, it has to go. No story, no debate, no emotional labor. And the third law is the law of truth before belonging. Villains just tell the truth, even if it costs them love, approval, or belonging. They're not afraid of being disliked. Actually, they thrive on it. They wouldn't be villains otherwise. And in a world built on performance and conformity, the one who tells the truth, the one who refuses to perform, will always be called dangerous. The moment I stopped living to be good and to make my number one priority to help others, I became whole. So if they call you the villain, let them. It means you stop abandoning yourself. Truth will cost you people, but it will return you to yourself. And remember, truth always sets you free. So tell the truth, become yourself. And this is Dr. Claudia with the art of becoming your best self.